Alright, hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Argos, Zenith, and Bulbaire here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. We have Bulbaire, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, not 100% sure. Bulbaire spawning as the blue Terran player on the north side of Xel'Naga Caverns. Meanwhile, we have Argos Zenith spawning on the south side as the red Zerg, or Argos Zenix, excuse me, Argos Zenix, not Zenith. Get confused a little bit sometimes. Nothing too out of the ordinary between his name. Clan Nex and Clan Zenith combined, so that is why they are now called Clan Znex. There's also a professional side to it, and there's also a casual side to it, so more on that later. Anyways, back into the game, we now see an Overlord now flying and making its way across the map, and we'll be trying to, I guess, scout out this position here to see if there is going to be an expansion set up sometime in the future. Meanwhile, we now see a drone making its way out, a current 12 or 13 drone on its way out in order to do some scouting and get to see any site or any information that's currently happening inside the base of Bulbaire. Bulbaire should be setting up a barracks on this front door. The supply depot is a little bit further behind, so it is possible to get Zergling run-bys. Because of this, I'm expecting Bulbaire not to go for a 1-1-1 build. Otherwise, it would be very, very difficult to try to hold off a large swarm of Zerglings once they get inside the space, especially as this drone will be able to start dealing some damage. Oh no, not going for the barracks. Now just wandering around and now taking a look around this base. So far, he does not see an extractor down just quite yet, and still looking around to figure out what exactly the strategy is going to be. And oh, it's going to be a double Rax build. So we have a 2 Rax build coming in from Bulbaire. This is going to be a very, very heavy marine macro coming in during this game. We may even see another barracks being placed down here, and it would be very difficult for any of those units to really get out of there, or sorry, for any Zerglings or even any banelings to really deal serious damage. Those Marines are now rallied back into this position here. We now see an upgrade to an orbital command as a hatchery now also being placed down. So Zenix, Argos still deciding to go for a fast expansion attempt here. Fast expansion before spawning pool, and I am curious as to how this will work out as this SCV now going to make its way over. We now see a drone rallying the point there, making sure that no bunker is being placed on that front door. That drone now trying to get some damage onto that one SCV. SCV, however, just walking up that ramp. As that drone is on patrol, perhaps it will get some damage. The drone just taking damage back and forth from that SCV. The SCV just doing the hoedown with that one drone, and that drone is now low on hit points, and it barely escapes there, and now taking some damage as some drones are now being transferred over here to the natural expansion. The expansion is now up, and a queen is now being trained. We should be seeing some Marines. No Marines yet moving out. So with no Marines moving out, I'm not 100% sure what exactly Bulbaire plans to do. Bulbaire may try to move out Marines with some SCVs in just a moment, or he may try to decide to do an expansion of his own. And yes, expanding on his own. And I like this play coming in from Bulbaire. What this is going to cause Argos to do is Argos is going to invest in a lot of spine crawlers and some Zerglings, so he will not be able to power drone nearly as much. Also, these Marines are going to be able to would have been able to deal some damage if it weren't for those spine crawlers. Eight Zerglings now trying to make their way across the map, going to activate that Xel'Naga watchtower, and it does see some of those Marines now coming around that side over there, so the Zerglings simply going to ignore that and now move on up to the north side, and he may be able to get some damage onto this command center over here. We now see those Zerglings now coming in. Are they going to go after that SCV? No, yeah, I'm going to go after that SCV. SCV now going to take some damage. No, the Marine Zergling's not trying to back off, still wandering around along that backside. No metabolic boost just quite yet, as we finally have that extractor up. Zergling's still trying to figure out what exactly they want to do against these Marines. The metabolic boost now being researched, but by having just a small presence of Zerglings, only about 10 or so, 10 Zerglings, he was able to force this army of Marines to stay inside and stay on the north side of the map, doing a very good job and keeping track of that Marine harassment. These Marines could have dealt a lot of damage towards these spine crawlers and these queens, but instead being forced to deal with this ever-present Zerg threat. We now see an upgrade to another orbital command here, and both sides starting to finally get gas now. If you take a look at their income tabs, yeah, we now finally see gas coming in from both sides. We do see a barracks now being placed down, and now a tech lab and more units still being trained. Marines now trying to clean up some of those Zerglings, activating that Xel'Naga watchtower there. and the Terran player does have a significant economic advantage with those mules now being called. He does have 2 mules in play. Each mule counts about 6 SCVs, I believe. And now you're going to see him get a very strong economic lead in just a moment. There you go. Marines now trying to shoot down this Overlord. Overlord quickly getting shot down by 9 Marines with those Gauss rifles, and more Marines still being trained. All of this off of 3 racks, one of them with the reactor. We now see the stim pack and the combat shield being researched in addition to getting that barracks with the reactor. We have not seen a factory come in just quite yet, and that is a bit of a surprise, as I would suspect a factory should be placed down in order to at least go into starport tech and try to be able to heal up those Marine and Marauders. We do see 1 baneling currently in production in this group right now by Xenex. Xenex probably could get a little bit more banelings very, very easily. And there you go, slowly hatching those banelings. Currently 7, 8 in production, and they may just try to simply run into this base. The Marauders do not have that concussive shell, so they won't be able to slow them down all too easily. We have 1 Zergling hiding out back over here, another Overlord hiding out over here, as these banelings are still being hatched and will be able to deal a lot of damage. 35 damage towards light units as these banelings now simply walk in. Do those Marines see it? I'm not sure if the Marines were able to spot him. Yes, the Marines are now able to spot because of that 1 Xel'Naga watchtower, and now the Marines doing a very, very good split there, but the Zerglings now trying to finish them off. We do have the stim pack now coming in, and the stim pack also able to finish off many of those Marines. And that was about an even army trade there. Income-wise, that was better for Bulbaire, as Bulbaire has the stronger economy, sitting on 38 harvesters compared to 27. Now in comes the swarm of Zerglings trying to deal some economic damage. However, the Marines are not trying to come in just quite yet. We see those Marines and Marauders now coming in, and those Zerglings backing off once again, just trying to run back and forth and trying to dance around the map. In order for Argos to get back into this game, he needs to take up another hatchery somewhere. And once again, we see more banelings currently being hatched just out of sight range. So that is a very, very dangerous play by Argos. Argos could have lost many of these banelings, and now the banelings are simply just going to walk on out of there. The banelings do move relatively slowly as those Marauders now giving chase, and now in comes some Zerglings as well. Zerglings doing a nice surround there, and the banelings now may just simply try to go after some of those Marauders. Yeah, just suiciding those against those Marauders. And now some of those Marauders also taking down army-wise. You can see that Bulbaire is still in a little bit of a lead, and now even has an even stronger economic advantage. Production-wise, more banelings and more Zerglings still being produced, and I'm not exactly sure what Argos Zenith plans to do. He really needs to transition into something else, unless he gets very lucky. SCV now out in the middle, banelings now being forced to run back. That 1 baneling can quickly getting taken down there as those Zerglings swarm now on the way. Perhaps we'll be able to get some damage across some of those Marines. Zergling now trying to run back and a little bit further. Will those banelings be able to get any damage on top of any of those Marines? It does not. Oh, some Marines were taken down, but a lot of banelings were also, the cost of 2 banelings against 3 Marines, not really worth it for Argos, as Argos continues to just suicide multiple Zerglings into this build. I'm still wondering what Argos seems to want to do. His production is still mass Zergling at this stage in the game. He is not mining that many minerals. Harvester count is really far behind now, 50 compared to 27. Argos is in trouble, but he needs to transition into something else. I do not see even a tech to tier 2 anywhere. No roaches, as roaches wouldn't even work anymore, as there are now siege tanks coming online in addition to a couple Marauders. Marines and Marauders being very, very well spaced from each other, making sure that they do not take that much damage. Level 1 weapons upgrade already completed. Level 1 armor upgrade now coming online as those banelings going to simply suicide into this group. Will any damage be dealt? Once again, able to take down some of those units, able to take down that 1 siege tank there, and now the Marines are finishing off this army of, Bulbaire completely caught off guard by the sheer production, and now the Zerglings trying to wander around will be able to get a lot of damage in, and now in comes that medevac. Medevac not really able to heal all too much, as those Zerglings now surrounding one of those Marauders, so these units are coming one at a time. SCV is now coming off the mineral line in order to engage once again. SCV is doing a great job holding off many of those Zerglings, as there is also 1 medevac in the air, and now in come more Zerglings against these SCVs without any Marine support, and that is going to become very, very difficult as this fight continues. Zerglings just having their way with multiple SCVs. Marines trying to fight back. Only 1 medevac in the air. The medevac does not have that much energy, and now, wow, somehow Argos Zenith able to, Xenix able to keep in this game, fighting back multiple SCVs, and now the Harvester count is starting to fall even further. Marines now on this front door, able to hold off against a very, very large swarm of Zerglings. And now Bulbaire in trouble. Bulbaire down to 33 Harvesters as banelings are being hatched. Zerglings finishing off many of these siege tanks. Is it going to get picked up in time by the medevac? No, yes, it is picked up. Should be dropped off up on that high ground and start to head into siege mode in order to blast apart some of those banelings as they come into play. However, one Zergling quickly getting taken out, and now another baneling taken down over there. So, wow, Bulbaire able to hold off by picking up that late siege tank and able to get it up onto that high ground away from those banelings. Nicely done. Oh, one of the things I should always check, I wonder if banelings actually can attack on the high ground if they explode onto the low ground, as I just realized I forgot to set that to busy. Alright, so back over here we now see Zerglings pecking away at their at these refineries over here, and also this refinery over here may get taken down. Zerglings still over here, and now finally we see some power droning coming in from Xenix. Xenix trying to get back into this economic game, trying to get more and more, and now in come another swarm of Zerglings. So just mass Zergling able to finish off 1-1 Marines, and this is a surprise that 1-1 Marines are now simply falling to the wayside against all of these Zerglings. So just pure Zerglings in this battle so far, Zerglings and banelings. Another hatchery being laid down. Very smart call by Xenix, by Argos Xenix, as Xenix needs to get and increase his larva production. Zerglings obviously take 1 larva each for every 2 Zerglings, and it is still very, very heavy as compared to Mutalisk, which 1 Mutalisk also takes, but it's also a 2-food army. Won't get into that until a little bit later. But siege tanks now making their way down into this position over here. Bunker now being laid down, and now Bulbaire will be able to try to re-establish his economic advantage, but that will be very difficult as Xenix is currently still power droning. And now you can see 48 Harvesters for Argos Xenix versus Bulbaire's 35. Zergling still sitting outside over here, and now Argos simply knows exactly when and where Bulbaire will try to move out, as he has Zerglings across the map stationed in very, very key positions, in addition to some Overlords as well. Production-wise, we now see a Spire coming online, and an Armory finally coming into play. So with that Armory, we may see some Thors. Thors would be a very strong counter against any Mutalisk that will be coming out, and also will be strong counters against Roaches and Hydralisks as they deal significant damage and have decent range. The question is going to be, what is Argos going to transition into? We now see that Spire coming online, so Mutalisk may be coming in, but if with those Mutalisks, with the training of those Mutalisks, if he overinvests in those Mutalisks, he will quickly find himself in a little bit of trouble as well, as Marines, as those 1-0 upgraded or 1-1 upgraded Marines and Thors will be able to shoot many of them out of the sky. Army-wise, 2,900 or 2,850 coming in from the Terran player. Meanwhile, we have Argos sitting on still a relatively small army at 1,150. Both sides having the same amount of food count, but you can see the Harvester difference. Argos is definitely in the lead by far, as many of those Overlords are going to get shot down and cleaned up across the map. We now see some medevacs coming in over here, still looking for more and more expansions, trying to make sure that no additional expansions are being laid down anywhere. If there are additional expansions, that is going to be a problem. A scanner sweep now coming in, so that scanner sweep does not reveal all too much, as there is another army of banelings coming out. So it's going to be banelings versus mass Marines with siege tanks. And wow, moving out with those mass Marines, they're just going to blow up very easily, as those banelings simply trying to roll into position. And now coming in back over here, Zergling's coming in from behind. So a beautiful, beautiful pincer attack there. And I gotta rewind that. So that was just absolutely beautiful play. You can see the Zerglings simply ignoring and now trapping those Marines there. And the banelings doing a double job of taking down those Marines and also taking down those destructible rocks. And now those Zerglings just did so much damage so quickly with those Zerglings that I'm not sure what exactly Bulbaire can do. Bulbaire did have an advantage for a little bit of time, but losing multiple Marines and Marauders and also helping his opponent clear out these destructible rocks in order to establish this hatchery, Argos is going to have a very, very easy time taking up his third base. Marines and Marauders also trying to take down these destructible rocks as well. Production-wise, level 2 infantry upgrades now coming online as a command center now coming in as well. About 8 Mutalisks soon to join the party. So production-wise, we have now 1 more Marine, and if more Banelings are able to finish off this swarm of Marines, the Mutalisks will be able to have their way in just a moment. A scanner sweep quickly reveals absolutely nothing, no hatchery, no army any further, and this army will simply just move in from the north and try to put more pressure down. We now see that the expansion down over here is currently being built. Marines and Marauders with some medevacs and some siege tanks will start to apparently siege up and try to get in position, trying to establish that siege line that Terran players like to do so easily. We now see a couple overlords over here as this hatchery is about 1/3 of the way completed, almost halfway so far, as scanner sweeps are now cleaning up some of these creep tumors. It does not look like Bulbaire wants to try to clean up any more of these creep tumors over here, and now just being confined to using these siege tanks to try to slowly push forward. But I believe the siege line will be broken once again by the Banelings. The Baneling production and the 10 Banelings can deal so much damage. Marines now trying to shoot down some of these overlords, but there are going to be a lot of Mutalisks coming in. Mutalisks now coming in. In comes a scanner sweep over here. 1 Mutalisk quickly shot down as these Mutalisks are going to try to pick off some of those units from behind. Zergling now quickly swarming in once again. Mutalisks just coming in, dealing so much damage. Banelings coming in, melting many of those Marines. And now, once again, Argos with the smaller army able to take out a larger army, and you can take a look at the losses. 3,000 more for Bulbaire. Bulbaire definitely in trouble with losing 3,000 more minerals, and now we now see more Marines trying to find their way, trying to come across many of these Mutalisks. Mutalisks now trying to back off once again. Another use of the stim pack. However, Mutalisks do fly faster than those Marines, and now just a lot of damage being dealt. Zerglings now trying to come in, and Zerglings may be able to simply swarm against this attack once again. In comes a Mutalisk. Mutalisk going to try to finish off many of these Marines. Marines going to get surrounded there, and multiple Marines once again get taken down. We now see more Marines trying to push in, and now a planetary fortress trying to be upgraded. Will this Baneling suiciding himself into the command center would have been better, trying to take down multiple Marines over here, and now we see an upgrade to this command center being canceled on its upgrade, and now trying to fly away, flying. However, in the air, those glaive worms still able to hit it, and now being able to move back. So those Mutalisks now dealing 10 damage per attack, as a scanner sweep quickly reveals what Bulbaire doesn't want to see: an expansion now set up at this low ground location at the 4 o'clock location. Bulbaire, who had a pretty significant lead early in this game, now quickly finding himself behind, and how will this all transition into, as there are now a lot of Mutalisks coming into position over here. The level 2-1 upgrades on these Marines should be able to finish off many of those Mutalisks, and now a lot of damage being dealt. But once again, you see Argos transitioning into a different strategy. Once again, he is now going for the pathogen glands, which indicates to me that he will be going for infestors. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Argos Xel'Naga and Bulbaire here in the Xel'Naga Caverns.